Well, I'd be lying if I didn't say it's been a hell of a week, a hell of a weird week indeed. First off, my sincere thanks once again to a lot of people who have offered to help with Bootz's medical expenses and care and whatever. I'm overwhelmed. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. I never ask for anything, and I'm very appreciative of anybody who does anything, especially for my animals. Because what you have to realize is, and a lot of people don't realize this, that adopting a dog or a cat is a commitment. And you got to figure that commitment's going to have to last at least 15 years. Because there's a lot of shit that can happen, and a lot of shit that did happen. And honestly, if I added up my vet bills for the last 13 years with both dogs, I could probably buy a fucking car, a truck, whatever. But that ain't the case. The case is that when I adopted these two dogs, I made a commitment. And honestly, I didn't expect things to happen, but things happened. And, at one point, Bootz had to get both of her rear legs rebuilt at $6,000 a leg. And sucked it up and, went through my savings and did it, because that's what I do. So what I'm saying to people out there is, they're not toys. You don't just grab them and when you're tired of them, you just put them on the side or put them down, as unfortunately, a few years ago, a former friend of mine said to me that I'd be a lot better off if I got rid of my pets or just hoped they died because I could live better. Obviously, I'm not friends with that person any longer, and some of you know who that person is. So, yeah. But no, like I said, I'm going to the wall here. I'm not going to extend their life, to gratify mine. And of course, I'm dealing with a good vet, Avon Lake Animal Clinic in Avon Lake, Ohio, that, basically knows what I want and basically is taking care of everything to date and have been, reasonable with their prices, Johnny on the spot with their care, so I can't say enough good stuff about them. So yeah, that's what I got to say. And, like I said, I'm still keeping an eye on her. She's doing a little bit better. She's walking. I took her for a half a walk around the block this morning. I'm trying to get her back into shape because knowing about arthritis, because I have it, the only way to beat it off is to keep moving around. Because if you sit around all day, you lock. So, anyway, on to other things. Biker movie, Angel Unchained from 1970, the year I graduated high school. Starring, Don Stroud, Lucas Skew, Larry Bishop, and Tyne Daly, with a special appearance by Aldo Ray. Well, this one isn't your usual mishmash of biker clubs warring and stuff like that. Angel, played by Don Stroud, wants to leave. And he is given permission to leave by his club, and he's riding down the highway when he pulls into this redneck town and gasses up. And these hippies pull in, and the redneck in charge of the gas station tells them we're closed. So Angel decides to fill them up, of course, incurring the wrath of the locals. So they go to this hippie farm with this girl, Tyne Daly, and Angel decides to basically, become part of this commune headed by Lucas Q. So everything's peaceful for a while until the asshole rednecks come in with their dune buggies, rip up everything these guys have planned, and basically tell them they have a week to leave or they're going to come back and pretty much fuck them up. So Luke asks Angel if he could get his former club members to come in and help them out. And Angel tells them, you don't want that, but they insist. So he goes back out and talks to Larry Bishop, who's, the leader of the club, and they agree to go out there, and, some mayhem does ensue. And there's one really cool scene, though. The bikers go into town with the hippies to pick up some stuff, and they're hassled by the locals. Well, the sheriff, played by Aldo Ray, comes out of his office and sits on a bench in front of his office. Larry Bishop walks over because the two groups are squaring off and sit next to the sheriff, and they have a little conversation about, the weather, and it's getting hot, and, things are going to get out of hand, and maybe they've gotten too out of hand as the two groups are beating the shit out of each other. So Larry takes the gun out of the sheriff's holster and fires it 2 times in the air and puts it back, and the melee stops. Interestingly enough, Aldo Ray worked with Larry Bishop's father, Joey Bishop, in a World War II movie called The Naked and the Dead. This is when Aldo was at the peak of his career and was, a main, big name star at that point. And also, I think The Naked and the Dead was L.Q. Jones's debut film. So there was history there, and Larry talks about it in an interview, how cool it was to do that, and how just based on Sam Arkoff seeing him on screen, seeing his eyes, was, he told the staff to sign this kid to a 6-picture deal. Well, Larry said he did 8, most of them biker films, and he did a little interview at the end of this DVD. So, of course, this has the usual 70s downbeat ending where one of the more beloved characters get killed. And, like I said before, the 70s were famous for downbeat endings. But, like I said, this is a cool little biker film. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's some other stars, Bill McKinney and some other people you'd recognize. So, it's definitely worth a look. I woke up to some sad news before I recorded this, and it sort of goes on to this whole another thing about conventions. I was talking to my girl Lorena's brother, who is involved. They're both involved with the Death Curse Society, where I'll be doing a live interview on camera in May, I believe. And Chris does other conventions. He bounces around, and he asked me, why am I banned from doing conventions? And I said, well, honestly, I never got the memo, and I honestly have never been asked to leave or been fired or any of the other shit, because you can't get fired from a non-paying job anyway. When things simply got fucking stupid, I left. I left Chiller because it became overblown, and there was a lot of heat on me because of a movie I was in, which, like I said before, certain people got in the promoter's ear, and I left. Wasn't thrown out, wasn't told to leave, I left. Monster Mania was another thing. Things got stupid, especially with that promoter down there. So I left and got shit later on. As for up here, which is happening this weekend, Cinema Wasteland, basically, see, the promoter, you got to realize something too. A lot of these promoters have very, very few testicles. And the whole thing is they make, instead of telling you to leave or asking you to leave nicely, they make life miserable for you. So you end up quitting, like I did with Wasteland, because I was told nobody came there to see me. And then started bad-mouthing me after the fact. I didn't get fired, I didn't get thrown out, I didn't get banned, I simply left. And that's the story. So if anybody wants to spread stupid-ass fucking rumors like this, be my guest. Some of the rumors seem to be coming out of 2 shows that I never did, Days of the Dead and Horror Hound, and I never had any interaction with those shows at all. So I don't know where this is coming from, and frankly, I don't care. My whole beef in this whole thing was that, okay, you wanted to be gone and I wanted to be gone, but I was never allowed to say goodbye. And that's what pisses me off. And that being said, I woke up to the news that a guy I knew from back in the day in Chiller, Art Dubin, who was there at every show, had passed away. Now, I'm not going to say that I was really close friends with Art, because I wasn't, but I was there at the beginning, and he was one of the group of guys that basically made Chiller what it is today. And, Art was a vendor, he sold memorabilia, he was a funny guy. I can relate one funny Art story because it was at the height of the Scream Queen thing, when everybody wanted to be a Scream Queen, and there was a lot of women around. So one of our security guys, and this is before I was head of security and had to put a team together, we had hired outside security, had caught a guy bent over a pile of boxes in an alcove moaning and thought he hurt himself. Well, he didn't hurt himself. What he was doing was rubbing one out for some reason in public. Of course, he was grabbed, asked to leave, and escorted out of the building. So we were all talking about this, and it's like, what do you think happened? And I said, well, probably was Scream Queen overload. So Art, without batting an eye and changing expression, just said, I guess he couldn't wait to go up to his room like the rest of us do. So that was Art. Deadpan humor, just sliding that thing in. And like I said, I wasn't close with him. I wasn't close with a lot of guys after I left because it was an end of an era. But it doesn't, prevent me from feeling bad when I read about someone passing away. And it's been 30 years since I got involved in this shit. And unfortunately, a lot of great stars have passed away, but a lot of people I met and knew from these conventions have also passed away. And it's also sad. And like I said, My main beef in this whole thing was I never had a chance to do one last fucking bit and just say, I'm done. I'm finished with it. Maybe I'll come back as a fan and just wander around, but I was never given that courtesy either. So it sort of bugs me, but hey, people still go to these things. People still enjoy them. I still have friends through them, and if that's what you like to do, fine. I think it was a little crazy to schedule your show on the weekend of, the Path to Totality, when there's 10 billion fucking people in this area waiting to see that it turned dark on Monday. I'm not leaving the house. I've seen too many horror movies. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll do an Eclipse special. Maybe I won't. But like I say, if you're going to the show over the weekend, I hope you enjoy yourself. I wish I could stop in and say hi, but obviously that's not going to happen. So, whatever. I just, like I said, it just sort of saddens me that, so many people that I've met, on this little journey called life have already left us, and, it's just sad. And they were liked by a lot of people. So, don't want to end the show on a sour note, but, like I said, go there, enjoy yourself, whatever. If you're coming up here to see the eclipse, knock yourself out. I'm staying in the fucking house. So, until next time, stay safe. Again, my sincere thanks for people who, helped me help Bootz out. And we will catch you on the flip side. So, have a great weekend.